Hi everyone. What I'll show you in this video is a very fun part of chess. I've called this the most important endgame in chess, but this could have been easily considered as the most important defense in chess. And the reason is that if one side is the smallest amount of material, being a pawn down, then and cannot defend a position like this, then they're dead. It doesn't matter if the ancient analysis shows that this is a drawn, or if the opening and the middle game goes towards a drawish end game. The side with the material deficit is gonna lose, either by blundering or by spending so much time finding the or calculating for the right defensive ideas. So I'm gonna show you how to defend this position. This is a king and pawn endgame that if it's black to move, it will be a draw. So let's learn that together. So, and I'm showing this from the point of view of white because the defensive side should know the ideas. The attacking side can just basically throw everything at white. So let's see. So black is to move. Black goes here. White has to keep the opposition, meaning standing in front of the opponent's king. Again, very important to stay in front of the opponent's king. And in this position, white has to go in front of the pawn. And here is what makes this a draw. It's a stalemate at the end. So let's go back and see what happened. The most important idea is that at the end, black either has to leave the pawn, go to any of these 5 squares and lose the pawn, or go to the square behind the pawn and lose, and it would be a stalemate. Now, what does white have to keep in mind during this defense? It's that whenever the king is in front of the pawn, white has to keep the opposition. So any other move would be losing. For example, if white goes here, this would be a losing endgame. White has to keep the opposition. If white goes to, again, any other square, here it's losing, here it's losing, white has to keep the opposition. Pretty simple, just to stay in front of the opponent's king. And then in this position, the most important idea in that defense, stay in front of the pawn. And in the most important, stay in front of the closest legal square to the pawn. If this square, the d3 square in this position, is available, go stay there. If not, go to d2. So either one square in front of the pawn or 2 squares in front of the pawn, depending on which one is available. And then here, what can black do? If black goes back, white uses the rule that we said, either one square in front of the opponent's pawn or 2 squares. So we know that any of these moves won't really help. For example, let's say if black goes there, we simply go here, here. Again, in a position like this, what are our friendly squares? One square in front of the pawn or 2 squares in front of the pawn. Here, we can't stay here, not legal. Gotta go back here. Black goes anywhere else, you keep the opposition. Black pushes, you go into any of these 2 squares. The rule is to stay to the closest to the pawn. And now again, not legal to stay here, don't go anywhere else. Anywhere else is losing. Go to the one in front of the pawn, either the closest or the second closest. That is the most important idea in this defense. And then here, you keep the opposition. Notice that regardless of what black does, going just randomly walking around, you keep one of these 2 squares. Here it happens that this square is also fine, but imagine you have 3 seconds left on your clock and you're playing on one of these online chess websites like chess.com or Lichess, and then you want to pre-move, and here you've got to go just pre-move it to here, the easiest option. Black has to go back to the defense. Again, here you go back to the other square in front of the pawn, and the only thing you need to think about is when the opponent's king comes to any of the same level, same rank squares to the pawn, keep the opposition. If it's here, don't worry about the I mean, you can't even keep the opposition there, but here just stay in front of the pawn, and that way you can quickly and just easily pre-move, and you're not gonna waste any time thinking about the right ideas. The ideas are as simple as this: stay in front of the pawn as close as you can, and whenever the king comes to one of these side squares to the pawn, keep the opposition. And that is losing because why? Because you didn't stay in one of these two squares. And now black gains the opposition. Why is this losing? Because if you want to stay in front of this, you've got to empty the way for the pawn. Here, if you had stayed in one of the squares in front of the pawn, you would have had the option of here not moving, and then black having to move and using the stalemate idea. With what we learned, let's take a look at these four different positions. Notice that I have four positions on the board, on the screen. With this setup of the attacking pawn, the attacking king, an empty square, and the defending king, we'll have four possibilities. Because the 8th rank cannot be, the pawn cannot be on the 8th rank, and then the black king is defending 3 squares, and the white king cannot be in any of these 4 squares, leaving us 4 positions. So the white king being either on the 4th, 3rd, 2nd, or the 1st ranks. So let's see. So we looked at the 3rd position, and we know that if it's black to move, it would be drawn. We've already seen that. If it's white to move, it would be lost because black has the opposition and can push through. Now let's look at the 2nd position. This, if it's black to move, again, white has the opposition. And at best, this would be the same situation. Black can push to get to come down to the 4th rank, but we know that this is drawn. By the single defensive idea we learned, we can tell that this one is drawn too. And if it's white to move, black has the opposition. Very similar to this case, black can win. So again, it would be lost for the defensive side. Same situation here. And the reason is, the reasons are in both cases the same. And you can practice these positions, and I absolutely recommend you guys doing that. You can watch my other video for how to simply practice any chess position, and then follow the ideas I said in this video, and you can see how easily you can defend these positions. And then it would become like as easy as a back rank mate to see the ideas. If for example, right away you see this position and you can tell if it's black to move, it's drawn. If it's white to move, it's lost. Now, there is one additional point to learn from this video, and that is if black can make it to the 3rd rank, or be it white attacking from the 6th rank and getting to this position, it would be lost no matter whose turn it is. And you can again practice this position, and I would again absolutely suggest you guys do that. And the reason is at the end, like here, even if it's black to move and black doesn't have the opposition, black can go to any of the sides, white keeping the opposition. Let's say black moves to e6, white moves to e8, black pushes, white goes back to d8, and then black pushes again to d2. At this position, white cannot go back to e1, and would have to open up the way by going to c2, and then the attacking king can go to e2 and push the pawn to the queening square. So black to move would be lost, white to move would be also lost. The difference in this case and the other cases is that white doesn't have that stalemate idea that we covered. With this, you learn the most important endgame in chess. And if you learn this, I mean, if you don't feel confident that you learn this, go and run back and watch the ideas again, and definitely try to practice it. Once you practice it, you will really see that it's pretty easy, and you can pre-move your defensive moves. And then if you play online and then you can hold a position, a drawn position like this from the defending end, that would actually look really impressive. And you would look, let's say if your rating is somewhere below 2000, if you're like a 1500 rated player on chess.com, and then you hold a drawn endgame like this, you would look as a well-deserved 1500 or an underrated 1500. A lot of the players who are pretty good at chess, they have ratings of over, let's say 1700 on chess.com, 1800. Some of them don't, I mean, a lot of them don't know this end game, and they might mess up. There are little details that they can mess up, but just following the few principles that I explained, you can comfortably and within seconds hold a position like this. And also, if you're worried about so many different positions that can come from kings and one pawn on the board, you can subscribe to my channel. I'm working on a video that would cover almost all the positions, and then with that, you'll be pretty confident how to play any position with just one pawn left. And then that would give you a lot of confidence knowing that in one possibility in the end game, which happens almost all the time, you know everything. And I think that would be something to brag about if you get to that level. And in one of the very next videos, I will cover those. So I hope that you learned something from this video. Until next time, take care and bye.